Hello, everybody. My name is Reece Nolting, and in this presentation, I'm going to talk about social media and why you should take a break from it, and the effects taking a break from social media will have on you, and the effects it had on me after my taking a break on social media. So, according to the National Center for Health Research, over 70% of people report feeling anxious or depressed due to social media use, with a feeling of being left out or excluded following them when not receiving engagement on their posts. You can see in the bottom left is my very first picture I took on social media. I got my first social media account, Instagram, when I was just 11 years old. And as you can see, I think I look really cool in this picture. And I have the Instagram filter on and everything. And I immediately picked up the idea that social media was not for showing uh, it was for showing the best parts of myself to people as other people would to me. And something went really wrong for me in this ideology because I discovered that no matter what I did, I could never really make myself seem as interesting as I wanted to be. And in other words, I just wasn't very good at lying and acting. um, you can also see this graph on the side that represents Americans who say that the media is affecting things the way things are going in our country today in a negative sense, mainly on topics like politics, um, which has definitely been a more prevalent issue in the 2024 election, with everyone's opinions being swayed by social media influencers and a lot more grounded in these digital platforms. Um, and we're going to explore in this presentation the effects of social media on our youth and discover who we can be without it. We're also going to explore the identity of what social media has become, which leads into this next phrase: all the world is a stage. This quote by William Shakespeare has a very real meaning now, because the impact of social media has turned every person into an actor, and the audience performing and watching often simultaneously. And the threat that social media poses to you is not a physical threat. It is very much an internal and subconscious threat. You don't really know what it's doing to you, what it's doing to your attention span, and you kind of grow a sense of like, okay, this is fine as you're doing it, but it's not a bad thing to be a productive person, and social media definitely gets in the way of that. And when I talk about social media, I don't mean to go to the extremes of banning it and taking it out of our lives completely. I just mean to simply incentivize people to take a break from it. And if people don't get off social media every now and then, it will lead to just more and more of that addiction and reduced productivity and negative self perception that we experience on social media. And so, to clearly state it, take a break. Um, I went off social media for my entire second semester, um, and it changed my life. Um, the 6 month challenge really does work because part of fighting an addiction is the path to quitting it. And the first time that I took a break from social media, um, it completely altered my brain chemistry, and I just couldn't believe the person I was starting to become without it. And I found myself twice as productive. I was able to learn things twice as fast, and I was more eager about learning stuff. I mean, like before, there might have been stuff that I thought was really boring or that I just wasn't really interested in like giving the time to learning it. But um, detoxing from social media really helps with that. It makes you become a more involved person in your studies and in your academic life, and it makes you more curious, really. Um, and I started to read books for the first time in years, and I just started picking up one after the other, and I swear, like I got smarter. My IQ just doubled, and most importantly, I felt validation, but not from other people like you would on social media with how you engage with people. I felt validation from myself, um, because it really just fulfilled me more than any amount of scrolling could ever do. And I see this with every person who's gone down this route. These people are just really amazing to be around because you can tell they really care about living in the real world, and they bring a whole new level of compassion and relatability to the table, which I think is what society really needs. Um, so, what happens after 6 months with no social media? What does this bring to the world? Um, the world, without us always looking down at our phones, brings us together. So, you get to see more eye contact with people, and we as humans become more intimate with each other. Um, you get to see people's eyes as you walk past them. In another universe, a girl at a party was able to fall in love with a guy because he didn't have his eyes glued to a screen, and they were able to see each other across the room. Or someone was able to help an old lady cross the street because they looked around at the world, and they saw what they could do to participate in it. Um, and people just become a lot more productive, and their grades increase if you're a student. Your academic and work life drives really take a significant increase as well. You get longer attention spans, which is a really useful thing to have, and it helps with not feeling a sense of boredom. I mean, I still get bored even without social media, but I know that there's a lot more better things to be devoting my time to, and it helps you get over that hump. Um, and you are always afraid of missing out on something, which is also important. Um, Social media, without it in our lives, we become more intimate and connected to each other in a way that the media just can't facilitate. And so the next thing I want to go over is just some of the books I read. As you can see, big Game of Thrones fan, so I picked up the entire series and read that over the summer. I've read other stuff like The Count of Monte Cristo and um, some nonfiction stuff. I really like nonfiction. This is about Winston Churchill, and this is about the Biltmore Estate, and this is like a couple memoirs I read that I really got into, and I think part of the appeal to me for reading nonfiction is just it teaches me something new, and that's like another thing that just comes with ditching social media is like you want to learn more stuff. You become like just a really curious person. Um, at least that's how it was for me, and I also had a really big career change. I decided I wanted to start studying law, and that's what's with the law dummies thing and the LSAT prep book. And so, how do you become more like this? And the biggest answer is just to do the 6 month challenge. Utilize your break times to do other things than scrolling, like exercising or pursuing other hobbies. There are definitely benefits to using social media, especially if it's a work related thing, but there's alternatives, and this challenge I think should definitely be tried if you're experiencing mental health difficulties. There's also digital detox apps, as highlighted in this bottom right graphic. There it's a really booming industry right now. As you can see, between 2023 and 2032, there's expected to be an 18% increase, which is massive. Doesn't have to be your thing, but if it's something that you think would help, it's worth it. I personally think it's really easy to digitally detox by just doing the 6 month challenge. Um, there are some really remarkable people in the world that just won't know the full extent of how remarkable they are because of the distractions and inhibitions caused by social media. So I challenge you to do the 6 month challenge and discover who you can be without social media.